Hello everyone, welcome back to the Reese's Writing YouTube channel. And as you're watching this, today that this is coming out, it is my birthday. I'll be at a concert probably, and I thought that I'd look back 28 years later. I'm going to try and fit that in because quite coincidentally, Danny Boyle is coming back and doing 28 years later on the year that I turned 28. I haven't watched 28 days. Is there 28 weeks? I think there's 28 weeks. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I thought I would sort of look back at my younger self. I think I went for 10 years before, what I was like then, what was sort of my feelings at that point about books and just the general outline, and then I recommend to my 18-year-old self books. I wasn't much of a reader when I was 18. I was sort of just really getting into my films. I did like films before going to college, but I really got into them during college and film studies and learning about film and watching films. And this was 2015, and I think my big year was around The Whiplash, which was 2014, around when that came out. The Revenant, Birdman, those are all the big ones around that year, and that was the time that I got in big time with film. So I started doing film studies, and then it sort of spiraled out from there, and then I did film in university, and now I have a job in film. So, well, TV, but you get the point. What would I read to get myself into reading? Stories that I would enjoy, and what would I sort of recommend myself? I'm thinking about my younger self. Like, I think I would want something smaller, something that's sort of easy to read, and has a story that is easy to grasp, and but also has a science fiction, has a bit of a weird, has some good characters potentially. I'm a big fan of good characters and a good interesting ideas and certain things. It's pretty much similar to where I am now, but I think I'm more inclined to read bigger books and series and things. But back then I wouldn't really want to delve into such a big thing and have such a commitment. But now I would just think, just the next chapter. I think that's the kind of feeling that I'd want to get if I were to start reading and just go to the next chapter, and then it'd be go to the next bloody book, then non-stop reading. But so my five books. So I went to the beginning. I went with Noddy. This is by Adrian Barnes. This is actually one of the very first books that I read, getting into reading. The reason that I got into reading wasn't entirely, I think it was a bit of a New Year's resolution, but it was also, I think I wanted to read stuff that I got into, like films. I wanted to know where they came from. I think it was around Blade Runner 2049. I wanted to know where the source material was. And so I picked up some random books, and I picked this up from a W.H. Smith, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was incredibly easy to get into, a pretty easy read, has that sort of weirdness about dreams and not being able to sleep, a bit of a post-apocalyptic world. What would happen with people if they couldn't sleep? How would that affect them mentally? Everyone would be, a lot more short-fused. It's also set in Vancouver, which, I really love the idea of Vancouver and, Canada. I really enjoyed this book. Quite a good post-apocalyptic read and quite easy to read. So, yes. And then the next one is I'm Legend by Richard Matheson. Um, Watching The Only Man Alive, I think that was called, The Last Man on Earth, I think that was what it's called. It really made me realize how much I loved this book. It's a really, really good book. Like probably one of the best books that I've read that details and makes one character so interesting at the end of the world. Like it makes it such an enjoyable read to understand this character. It's super bleak, it's very dark, but the main ideas of what you would do to stop someone, getting that sort of becoming sort of a vampire, and the sort of slow unraveling of the mysteries of this story are really well done. They're really interesting. It's a short book as well, so I think I would really love it. And it's got a lot of this guy like drinking and listening to music, which I probably would have kind of enjoyed. It's really bleak though, so I may not like that when I was 18, but I think I would have really got into it. And if you haven't read I'm Legend, then read it, because it's one of my favorite books probably ever. The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. So I think this is quite a fun read. It's quite a sort of, it keeps you sort of hooked with the mysteries and the running around and the sort of crime capery-esque feel of it all. It's got that Victorian like H.G. Wells-iness about it, with the like inner monologue, or like is it inner monologue? No, it's just that Victorian feel. A lot of thinking, a lot of thought, as with all H.G. Wells. But I really like the way they did it in this book. This is probably my favorite H.G. Wells book. I really enjoyed his sort of philosophical reasonings for things, and then the slow developing of these characters was really well done. And I enjoyed the discovering of why this person wanted to become invisible, and the character sort of the way he puts the characters into these situations. And I just think it's really well done. It feels quick, like it's fast paced, and lots of quite interesting scenarios come out that are quite funny in the book. And I think I would enjoy it, although it's probably quite a difficult one to read, to get into, because it has all that sort of floralness. But I don't know, I think I would have enjoyed it either way. And then the next one, The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. I think I would have appreciated short story collections. I could just pick it up, read, just one story, and then maybe put it down, come back and read another short story. I think I would have appreciated that they were all sort of tied up, but then I could pick it up, and I think I would have really got into it as well, especially if they were short. Like this has really short, like just a paragraph of books, of stories that are really good, just really impactful short stories. And it has this whole world that it wants to create around Mars, and how humans abuse it and then lose it. And the sort of human nature is really well done, as with all Ray Bradbury books. And it's really enjoyable to read, as with, he is one of my favorite authors to read. So I think I'm gonna give myself the props in terms of youth Reese, that he would enjoy Ray Bradbury's books as well. And then we have, I think, is this the final one? I got to the final one, yes. And then we have World War Z by Max Brooks. I think I would have enjoyed the zombie zombie nature. So I think I would have really enjoyed the sort of interview style, as I was more of a film person, and like dialogue is quite important, and I think this does the dialogue really well, and it unveils the stories, and it's kind of like the Martian Chronicles in that they all coalesce to form this world, these interviews, and then they don't really show the whole like plan around this world, and how it's sort of how it's formed after this apocalyptic thing that happened, how humans dealt with a zombie apocalypse. And I think it is really delicately done, but it also shows a lot of the background is really well sort of detailed, and the background is hidden, but it's used in really good ways, if that makes sense. And then he reveals the world that he's built really well through dialogue and through these interview-esque style selection of interviews. Like, yeah, they're all sort of varying different parts of the world and different characters and different jobs that have different backgrounds and people that you can like sympathize with, and that gives a really good recollection of what happened when the zombies came. And that is the books. That are the 5 books. I think hopefully my 18-year-old self would enjoy those and would pick them up every night, and not just pick one up and then put it down, because I wouldn't read it. What would you give your younger self? What book recommendations would you give your younger self? Would you recommend those books to your younger self? Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Bye.